Greetings to you all and welcome to the lesson. The subject is Advanced Financial Management. Today we are going to embark on a new topic known as mergers and acquisitions. Mergers and acquisitions chapter has 10 sub-chapters, namely number 1, nature of mergers and acquisitions. Number 2, arguments for and against the use of acquisitions and mergers. Number 3, valuation of acquisitions and mergers. Number 4, defense tactics against hostile takeovers. Number 5, financing mergers and acquisitions. Number 6, financial evaluation of mergers and acquisitions. Number 7, regulatory framework for mergers and acquisitions. Number 8, valuation of firms for mergers and acquisition purposes. Number 9, reasons why there is failure or failed mergers and acquisitions. Number 10, mergers and acquisitions in Kenya, regional and global context. These are 10 subtopics. We'll be taking a subtopic at a time. In our today's lesson, we begin with the nature of mergers and acquisitions. Nature of mergers and acquisitions. But first of all, we're going to define the terms merger, then we define acquisitions. These are two terms, mergers and acquisitions. What is a merger? Now, a merger is a type of corporate combination where two or more companies join together to form a new single entity. Two or more companies combine to form a new single entity. Is where two or more entities combine or join together to form a new. The entities that are coming together lose their individual entities, then they come together and form an entirely new single entity. New single entity. New single entity. And in a merger candidates, both companies cease to exist independently. The companies that are merging, they cease to exist independently, and their assets, liabilities, and operations are combined into a new company. That's the meaning of a merger, to merge. Now, acquisition, on the other hand, is a type of a corporate combination where one company, known as the acquirer, combines or purchases another company, known as the target. It is a corporate combination where one company known as the acquirer purchases or buys another company, known as the target. The company that is acquired is known as a target company. And the acquirer gains control of the targets. The acquirer gains control of the target's assets. The acquirer gains control of the target's assets, liabilities, and operations. So in an acquisition case, the target company may exist as a separate entity, or it may be absorbed into the acquirer's operations. So it may cease to exist, or it may still exist, but it's controlled by the acquirer. You understand? So in the first instance, the companies that are combining, they lose the individual entities, they come together, and a new single entity comes into existence. So now, what are the characteristics? What are the characteristics of mergers? Characteristics of mergers. We want now to discuss the characteristics of mergers. Now, mergers as a form of corporate combination has several key characteristics. One characteristic is relation to mutual agreement. Mutual agreement. Mutual agreement. Now, mergers typically involve a mutual agreement between the companies involved. Both parties consent to the combination. Mutual agreement. They both agree. It's more or less like a marriage, where we are told that a man and the woman mutually agree to the arrangement of marriage. It is a mutual arrangement, mutual agreement. The parties consent. They consent to stick together. So in a merger, the companies consent. Parties consent to the combination. It is a mutual agreement between the companies involved. That's the first characteristic. Then there is new entity formation. New entity formation. A new entity is formed. A merger results in the creation of a new legal entity distinct from the original companies. And the new entity inherits the assets, the liabilities, and the rights of both merged companies. So a new entity is born in merger. The third characteristic of a merger is in relation to shareholder approval. Shareholder there is what we call shareholder approval. Shareholder approval. Shareholder approval. Mergers often require approval from the shareholders of both companies. And that ensures that the merger is in the best interest of the shareholders, because there cannot be mutual agreement without the approval of owners of the company. There is shareholder approval. There may also be the aspect of regulatory compliance. Regulatory compliance. Mergers must comply with applicable laws and regulations, particularly the laws in relation to competition. Such laws prevent mergers that would reduce competition and harm consumers. So mergers may be subject to regulatory laws, like laws relating to competition. So these are characteristics of mergers. How about acquisitions? Acquisitions. Do we have characteristics for acquisitions? We've defined acquisition as one company acquiring another company, where one company or the acquirer gains control of the target's assets and so on. So what are the characteristics of acquisition? Characteristics, the features, the attributes of acquisitions. Acquisitions candidates, we've said, is a form of a corporate combination, and it also has several characteristics. Acquisitions have several characteristics, and characteristics candidates are the attributes or the features. Just like the mergers, where the parties must agree to come together. When it comes to the characteristics, one company acquires another, and the process may not be necessarily one of mutual agreement. So in acquisition, one company acquires another. One company acquires another or purchases another. In an acquisition, one company, who is the acquirer, purchases another company, the target. So the acquirer gains control of the target's assets, and operations. Unlike mergers, acquisitions can be hostile. Acquisitions can be hostile or friendly. Acquisitions can be hostile, they can be friendly. Acquisition can either be friendly, where the target company consents, or hostile, which goes against the target company's wishes. Now, the third feature is in relation to the fact that acquisitions have what we call an equal, it is what we call an equal partnership. An equal partnership. Unlike mergers, acquisitions typically involve an equal partnership, where the acquirer usually has a controlling interest in the combined entity. The acquirer has a controlling interest, just like we saw here, that the acquirer gains control of the target assets and operations. Equal partnership. 4, we have premium payment. Acquirer pays a premium over the market value of the company. The acquirer often pays a premium over the target company's market value to acquire its shares, and such a premium reflects the potential synergies or even the strategic benefit the acquirer expects to. So these are 4 characteristics of acquisitions. Number 1, one company acquires another. Number 2, it can be hostile or friendly. There is an equal partnership, premium payment. Now we will move to discuss the types of mergers and types of acquisitions, though that is not part of the syllabus, but for the sake of understanding, into the types mergers. Types of mergers. Mergers can be categorized based on the relationship between the merging companies. And one such type is horizontal merger. Now, horizontal merger is where 2 companies operating in the same industries merge. 2 companies operating in the same industry. Horizontal. 2 companies operating in the same industry. The second type is vertical merger. An example of horizontal merger is where one airline purchases another airline or merges with another airline to have a large carrier. Two competing airlines merging to form a larger carrier. That's an example of a horizontal merger, where companies operating in the same industries combine. Then we have vertical merger. Vertical merger is where a company with is where companies in different stages of supply chain merge. Companies operating different stages of the supply chain. Because you have in the supply chain, you have the manufacturers, we have the retailers, and so on. Alright. Now, an example of a vertical merger is where a car manufacturing company or a car manufacturer merging with a tire manufacturer, or a retailer merging a manufacturer. Those are examples of vertical mergers. Do you understand? Companies in different stages of the supply chain merging, that is a vertical merger. Conglomerate merger. Now, conglomerate merger is where companies that are unrelated. Okay, companies in unrelated industries. Conglomerate is companies in unrelated industries merge. Companies operating in unrelated industries. That is a conglomerate merger. For example, a technology company merging with a healthcare company. 4, a circular merger. Circular merger refers to a series of mergers. Now, a circular merger is a complex arrangement involving multiple companies merging in a circular fashion. For example, company A merging with company B. Company A merging with company B. Company B merging with company C. Company C merging with company D. Then this company D merging with company A. You understand? That is a circular merger. A circular merger. A company A merges with company B merges with company C merges with company D, and company D merges with company A. So these are types of mergers. Now let's discuss types of acquisitions. Types of acquisitions. Types of acquisitions. Types of acquisitions. Now, acquisitions can also be categorized based on the relationship between the acquiring and target companies, as well as the nature of the transaction. Number 1 type is friendly acquisition. Friendly acquisition. Friendly acquisition is where the target company's consent is sought. In a friendly acquisition, the target company agrees to be acquired. For example, a target company accepting a takeover from an acquirer. We may also have hostile acquisition. Now, in a hostile acquisition, the target company's wishes. This is acquisition against the target company's wishes. Okay, against the wish, it's hostile, without the consent of the target. Here, the company is acquired without the consent or the wishes of the target. Do you understand? Hostile acquisition. The acquirer attempts to take over a target company without its consent. For example, an acquirer launches a tender offer directly to the target company shareholders, bypassing the board of directors. That is a hostile acquisition. 3, there is what we call tender offer. Tender offer is also a type of an acquisition. Tender offer, that is direct offer to shareholders. Direct offer to the shareholders. The acquirer offers to buy the shares of the target directly. Okay? the acquirer offers to buy shares directly from the target company's shareholders. For example, an acquirer publicly announcing its intention to purchase a certain number of shares in the target company at a specified price. 4. Proxy fight. Proxy fight. Proxy fight. This is a campaign to gain control of the target company. Now here the acquirer attempts to gain control of the target company by soliciting proxies from the shareholders to vote for its chosen directors. For example, an acquirer may launch a campaign to replace the target company's board of directors with its own nominees. So these are just a few of the types of acquisition. Now that brings this lesson to an end, where we introduced the topic on mergers and acquisitions. Mergers and acquisitions. Now here is your today's assignment on the nature of mergers and acquisitions. Number 1, what are the primary differences between a horizontal, vertical, and conglomerate merger? Number 2, explain the concept of synergy in the context of mergers and acquisitions. Number 3, how does a hostile takeover differ from a friendly acquisition? How does a hostile takeover differ from a friendly acquisition? So thank you for attending the lesson. I hope to meet you in the next session and we'll continue to discuss matters relating to mergers and acquisitions. Bye-bye.